here are your hosts of Financially Tuned, Mark Fricks and Tony Shore.
Welcome to another show of Financially Tuned with me, Mark Fricks from MasterPlan Retirement Consultants, and our co-host, Tony Shore. We're really excited to have you join us today because the topic of today's show is, will Social Security be enough? And I guess the reason I'm so excited is because it is a topic that comes up all the time and we are asked about it continually. So we're going to be covering points such as the retirement cliff, ways to fill an income gap, and creating an income plan.
Well, Mark, that sounds great. It's great to be here again with you this week. I love doing the show with you each week. Before we get started today, how have you been? How was your week?
Great week, Tony. We've, it being the beginning of the year, we have begun gearing up our Social Security classes at some of the local community centers and libraries, and those have been really popular. And I'm going to make sure I mention that toward the end of the show, so folks that want to take advantage of that in the Atlanta area, we have classes coming up all around Atlanta, so it'll be a great opportunity. And so we're just going as always. So it's been a good week.
Well, that's great. That's fantastic. I know that you're an expert on Social Security. You probably know more than anyone down at the Social Security offices. You give these seminars, and I want to tell our listeners, I've been to one of these seminars. They are fantastic. And Mark knows so much about this, and it isn't a sales technique or tool. He's not selling you anything. He's just there to educate people in the area about Social Security and how they can maximize their benefits just by filing at different times and using some of the strategies like spousal benefits and file and suspend. I think that's great. We're actually going to talk about that a bit. One of the reasons this is such a hot topic, Mark, is that baby boomers are all approaching retirement or entering into retirement now. So it's a big deal because there are a lot of baby boomers that are going to be starting to take Social Security. Maybe you could explain to us first, what is the retirement cliff that you mentioned in the intro to the show?
Well, that's a great place to start, Tony. So it's kind of like this. The moment you stop working and start living off the money you've set aside for retirement can be referred to as the retirement cliff. And so you just have to kind of imagine you've worked hard all your life, you've earned money most of your life, but then there comes a day when that income flow stops. You no longer get a paycheck every week or two. So when that happens, it's really the time to start tapping into your resources that you've accumulated to fill the financial gap that has occurred. Now, Social Security will certainly help, but it's also important that you have other assets built up to fill the gap. Most people won't have the ability to, and certainly don't want to live on just Social Security, and that's, I think, the reason we've worked so hard for so long. So after you've calculated your Social Security benefit and you've selected the best year and month that will maximize your lifetime benefits, it's then time, Tony, to look at your other retirement assets, your income sources, other options that will help reduce or even eliminate the drop-off of the retirement cliff.
What sources of reliable income other than Social Security can someone depend on to help them when they're faced with this retirement cliff then?
Well, sources of income a person may have to help reduce or eliminate that retirement cliff drop-off could include the possibility of pensions, perhaps an IRA they've accumulated, a 401k, or perhaps even a Roth IRA, maybe dividends from stock holdings or money from the sale of real estate, maybe money from rental property that comes in. So those are just some of the things that would need to be considered as income when someone's entering retirement. Now, I want to stress right here, Tony, it's really important to meet with a financial professional to discuss all of your options and to really help folks determine which option best suits needs. There's no one size fits all. And, when we sit down with folks, we want to consider these areas and other options to fill that gap or to make sure that retirement cliff is either much smaller or doesn't exist.
So let's say someone's monthly Social Security check and their other supplemental income leaves a shortfall in what they need or their desired income, what are some ways that they can prepare for that or deal with that, Mark?
Well, the shortfall you mentioned in your question, we refer to that as the income gap. And it's important to fill this gap in order for you to maintain the lifestyle that you want to have in retirement. Now, if you've known an income gap that needs to be filled, you most likely want to know how to fill that gap with the fewest dollars possible. I know that sounds kind of strange, but you want to maximize and make sure your money stays or continues growing or maintaining while still taking income out. So first of all, by maximizing your Social Security benefit, you can then leverage your additional income and look at other investment tools that can help generate income for you. And as always, your specific needs and goals really need to be analyzed and consulted by a financial professional that can look at your specific situation.
Well, Mark, you mentioned Social Security again there and maximizing that. With these different Social Security strategies that are out there, it seems like people probably have a good amount of control as to when they want to claim their benefits, right?
Oh, that's absolutely correct. However, the decisions as to when you want to receive your benefit can either positively or negatively affect the benefit. So it's really important to understand your benefit to help determine when the best time for you and you alone to begin collecting. That's important to understand. So we really start with the Social Security benefit. How can we maximize that? When's the best time to take that? Now, there are many factors of Social Security you can control, such as when to collect. There's also factors, though, you cannot control. For instance, you cannot control putting more money into Social Security in order to get more out of it. So in our next segment, we're going to be discussing additional ways to address any income need that you may encounter after receiving your Social Security benefit.
Well, that's great, and I'm really looking forward to that discussion. In the meantime, it's actually time to take a quick commercial break, and I wondered if you had any other information for our listeners before we go.
Yeah, just a quick thought here. Preparing for retirement, whether it's understanding your Social Security benefits or learning about mistakes to avoid, can really be overwhelming. It's amazing how many decisions have to be made approaching retirement, entering retirement, or even after you're retired. And many of them cannot be changed. Once you've made a decision, it's made and it's done. So I would suggest a couple of things. We do have a retirement income toolkit that we can send folks that are listening. If you're interested in receiving that, it is complimentary. You can do it two ways. You can give us a call at 770-980-9262 or visit the website at MasterPlanYourRetirement.com. Request the Retirement Income Toolkit, and we will get that to you as soon as possible. And it's really dedicated to providing folks with information to help make those sound decisions and really build a retirement on a solid foundation that will really stand the test of time.
Excellent. Well, we have to take a quick commercial break right now, but when we come back, we're going to continue our discussion with Mark Fricks right here on Financially Tuned after this.
To hear the rest of the show or for more information, go to MasterPlanYourRetirement.com or call Mark at 770-980-9262 to schedule an appointment.